Is Ricciardo really leaving McLaren? Secret news. Daniel Ricciardo is a highly rated driver and one of the best personalities in Formula One. However, his move to McLaren in 2021 has seen him crushed by his relatively less experienced teammate Lando Norris, leaving both he and the team struggling for answers as to where to go from here. Is this really how it ends for the popular Australian? Welcome back to Formula One. Today we're going to talk all about, is Ricciardo really leaving McLaren? So let's get right to it. There's been a lot of speculation recently about the 32-year-old's future at his current team, after McLaren CEO Zak Brown bluntly stated that the results so far hadn't lived up to the expectations for the partnership. On Sky's Any Driven Monday TV show, Brown claimed that mutually both McLaren and Ricciardo had expected more, which can't be anything but true. 18 months into Ricciardo's stint at Woking, the reason why it hasn't worked out yet seems further away than ever. Making this intra-team drama more headline-grabbing is the fact that fans adore Daniel Ricciardo, especially if most of their F1 knowledge has come from Netflix's F1 Drive to Survive, where he is one of the main characters. He easily boasts the most charisma and enjoys a consistently accurate portrayal of anyone in the series. In case you haven't watched the show, you should know that he once drove for Red Bull Racing, where he was winning races. But then the team began favoring Max Verstappen in every call made, so Ricciardo decided to take control of his own future and switch to Renault. The Renault switch worked, thrashing his teammate Esteban Ocon and taking the team's first podium in years, up until 2020 when Ricciardo decided to leave for McLaren. For whatever reason, the McLaren switch just hasn't worked out the way that people, myself included, might have expected. In 2021, Norris didn't exactly wipe the floor with Ricciardo, but in the end, the young Brit did take all but one of McLaren's trophy hauls and spent a good chunk of the season third in the Drivers' Championship. Yes, Ricciardo took McLaren's first win for a very long time after a grueling race at Monza, but didn't have any other standout moments. In the end, Norris beat Ricciardo 160 points to 115. Still, 2022 presented a new chance at success. This season started out about the worst it possibly could for both McLaren and Ricciardo. First, the team broke the car with a front axle update that made it literally impossible to drive, unable to set more than 100 or so laps in 3 days of testing in Bahrain. And then Ricciardo got COVID and had to sit things out. He was ultimately able to come back in time for the first race, but clearly the team was about the worst prepared it could possibly be anyway, even with Norris having volunteered for extra testing time. The McLaren 2022 car has turned out to be a fascinating beast, seemingly well in control of the porpoising problem, but otherwise still baffling to the team and drivers on a lot of levels. Norris says he's had to relearn how to drive it since the chronic embarrassment of a points-free Bahrain opener, and it still seems to be a lottery whether it'll be any good at most tracks. Monaco and Barcelona have been the first tracks this year where that seems to have favored one driver over the other. In Barcelona, a dog-sick Norris just failed to make Q3, but hauled the car into the points over a race he'd been hurling on the grid just before. Meanwhile, Ricciardo slipped inexplicably backward with a sudden lack of grip, finishing behind the teammate he'd out-qualified. As a young, raw talent, Ricciardo beat Sebastian Vettel at Red Bull, and he even held his own against Verstappen until he decided to leave and dodge the switch to Honda Power. He seemed to have matured into a good development driver at Renault and then arrived at the McLaren Technology Center a little lost, even though it's pretty much only just down the road from Red Bull. Maybe it's how Netflix tells it, and he's being terrorized by Norris. That seems unlikely though. As awkward as their vibes were when they were first teammates, McLaren is still trying to develop its way to the front of the midfield, and it wouldn't be in Norris's interests, sporting or financial, to try to sabotage that. Usually when things aren't going well in F1, teams and drivers can point at things they know aren't working, whether it's Fernando Alonso raging against Honda's GP2 engine or the occasionally sharp criticism Red Bull directed at Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon's results. Generally someone knows who to blame. But not this time, however. If the car's not total junk, and Norris's results suggest it's not entirely, and Ricciardo's not junk either, it seems no telemetry in the world can manage to correlate what's happened here. If this is how it really ends for Ricciardo, then it'll be one of F1's big mysteries. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. Make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. See you next time on Formula One. Bye!